Welcome back, MTG Joe here. We're here for the weekly metagame breakdown for the standard best of one format. If you're looking for the best decks in the format, the decks to get you to Mythic rank on MTG Arena, this video is for you. We get data from Untapped GG, a companion tool that tracks user win rates. If you want to check out the deck list or just kind of keep a track what decks are working for you, which aren't, card collection, suggestions, stuff like that, link for Untapped is in the video description. I will timestamp and paste all these deck lists as well if you want to jump around and see which decks interest you. We're going to start off with looking at the popularity of the day, kind of what the distribution of decks are, and then we'll jump into the deck lists themselves. We're going to be focusing Diamond and Mythic rank right now, and we'll look through. For next week's video, we'll just focus on Mythic since it'll be kind of the last week of the month. In terms of popularity, Mono Red at 17%, or sorry, 11.7%, so 12%. Omniscience combo at 10%, Mono Black at 8%, Azorius Control at 6%. We have the Self Bounce Esper deck at 5%, Auras at 4%. The Rakdos aggro is like Mono Red kind of fling deck, and then the Mardu aggro is basically Auras with the fling package in it. We're looking in terms of play rate. We see like the Esper Self Bounce was up to 16% at the beginning of the month, kind of fallen off. We see also like Azorius kind of holding around the 10% mark. Mono Black did kind of fall a little, but is slowly regaining some metagame share. We look at the last week, March 11th through the 18th, 140,000 games played in best of one, Diamond and Mythic rank, and Boros Mice is the highest win rate. Some burn elements, so not quite the Auras deck. We have the mouse package here. With the addition of Mabel, heir to Craigflame, 2 mana 3/3 Lord for your mice that creates a legendary equipment that gives a whole bunch of keywords: +1/1, Vigilance, Trample, Haste, and Equipped 2 all added in. This plays really nice, just the ways with the Valiant triggers, Emberheart Challenger, Manifold, Heartfire Hero. So some elements of Mono Red, a couple Screaming Nemesis, Sheltered by Ghost added to the deck, Shard Mage Rescues Protection, Lightning Helix to complement it as well. In the mana base, you got 3 Restless Biovacs, 3 Rockface, and a couple of the Verges. Moving on, we go to Azorius combo, 67%. So for those who haven't seen this deck, it can win the game on turn 2, basically dealing infinite damage. What you do is try to draw, discard, loot, self-mill, whatever you want to call it, Omniscience into your graveyard. You cast Abuela's Awakening. This returns the Omniscience as a creature. If you have another Omniscience in hand, you should play it right away. Otherwise, what you do is you do Invasion of Arcavios into your sideboard. For Season of Weaving, you do mode 2 and mode 3. So you make a copy of the Omniscience, and then it returns all non-token cards to your owner's hand. You return the Invasion to your hand, and then what you do is you get Beseech the Mirror. Your Beseech the Mirror gets the second copy of Invasion from your library. The Invasion gets this town ain't big enough. This town bounces them both back. You get a Heroic Reinforcements, and then you just basically keep casting Heroic Reinforcements, this town bouncing the invasions back, and then just loop that till you make infinite attackers and beat them that way there. We then go to Mono Red aggro, 67%. So the big thing that you may want to consider, Soulstone Sanctuary seeing play in the best of 3 versions of these decks. Something you may want to add as like a 1 or 2 of. But the pretty stock deck, what we've seen in the past, full set of Witch Stalker in this one. You have the Lightning Strikes. You sometimes see like a Shock or 2 in best of 1. Just given that the format tends to be a little bit more aggressively slanted, allows you to have more 1 mana interaction options. But this list has been pretty stock. In best of 3, it's going to differ more. Best of 3, you'll see some lists play Sunspine links in the main. There's also some versions that are at their core pretty much mono red, but they play 2 questing druids and then have access in the sideboard to a couple green cards like Paw Patch Formation, stuff like that. But they're kind of at core, again, just a mono red deck. Moving on, we go to Bant. They're calling it Bant Copy. It's kind of a take on Bant Ramp, Bant Beans. You have Storm Chaser's Talent. This town ain't big enough. This town triggers up the Beanstalk, which is kind of sweet. You have Doppelgang in here. Obviously, the Overlord works with it. Ride Zen triggers the beans. one of Kutsuo's Flanker as a way to deal with graveyards against Omni combos, stuff like that. But this deck here has just got some cheap removal, some counters, and then you have Invasion of Arcavios for your sideboard. Gets you a whole bunch of answers. Offer You Can't Refuse is a cheap counter into the Flood Maws bounce. Doppelgang in here. Step Between Worlds, 5 mana, shuffles, gets you basically a new hand. Season of Gathering can deal with enchantments, can deal with artifacts, can put counters on things. Season of Weaving can rebound stuff to your hand. So not quite the combo lines, but just kind of value plays. Titania's Command makes you a bunch of tokens, can exile graveyards, kind of effects like that. So not quite the Zur Overlord package, but just kind of a Bant, big mana, big spells, beans deck. You then have mono red Cauldron Goblins. So you have the aggressive slanted version of the deck. So you have Amonkhet Raceway. I do not like 3 Tree City. I would suggest playing Cavern of Souls over this. This is a trap card where it doesn't start tapping till mana until you're already ahead on board, at which point you're not like feeding huge amounts of mana into anything in particular. This is a trap card. It's not Nykthos. I would strongly suggest play Cavern of Souls over this instead. But the core of this deck, what you try to do is once your creatures kind of die, you have Agatha's Soul Cauldron that works with Krenko, and then basically turns any of your creatures into Krenkos. It also works with things like Exhaust, where it gives each of your creatures the Exhaust ability. It still only works once per the creature, but basically turning everything into Exhaust. The one thing with speed is it won't work for this latter ability. So the max speed, it won't make any of your creatures tap for mana equal to your goblins. Same with the kind of static text. This creature has double strike. It can give your creature, say, 2 mana to get plus power, but which is aggressively slanted. You could also play Soulstone Sanctuary as another goblin in the deck as well. Then have 4-color Squirming Emergence Omni deck. So another deck that's looking to self-mill. Cash Grab self-mills, Philaji, Founding. Quag Feast is a new card. It's removal that mills you. While Whale of the Forgotten mills can be kind of a bounce as well, as far as Dispersal, bounce, and then kind of sets you up. What you're trying to do is get enough permanents in your graveyard that you can cast Squirming Emergence either on like an Atraxa or an Omniscience, and then just kind of chain together your deck. You also have Invasion of Tolvada as another way that you can return this to get back Atraxa. So not, again, like infinite combo, but you can cheat out really big things, just kind of chain together, and then you can also just Jace mill. This returns Planeswalkers non-battle permanent. So you can keep bringing back Jace potentially in that regard, and then just mill out your opponent. Then have Azorius kind of Leyline Axe Glyph deck. So this deck here is an artifact sub-theme. You have things that make artifacts in Novice Inspector. That can be kind of popped with Zoetic Glyph. You can animate your various tokens. Same with Spyglass Siren. You can have Leyline Axe to come into play turn 0, give any of your creatures double strike trample, plays nicely with Regal Bunnicorn. Steel Seraph can also kind of let this fly. Pseudo kind of Convoke Shell. Your Mockingbird could copy your stuff. You have Sheltered by Ghost as cheap removal. Lava Spur Boots as haste and ward style effect with the deck. Moving on, we go to Jeskai Oculus. So this is a more mid-rangey. There's a version that's just like straight Boros with Monument that plays some Oculus as another way to kind of bring it back. This one's got kind of a pseudo fair game plan. Proph's Edict just makes any of your creatures quite large through naturally drawing and discarding style effects. Plays nicely with things like Steamcore Scholar, offense, defense kind of threats. If you're missing out, can get you extra combats. You have the core of the deck kind of put into your graveyard Oculus, return it with Recommission or Helping Hand. Spyglass Siren in here helps you get maps, setups your early game, some cheap interaction, Torch Tower, Spell Pierce, Flood Mob, Bounce Off, kind of in. Bit of Reunion is a way you can kind of haste out Oculus while helping to enable the draw discard style effect of it. Then go to Azorius Control. This deck here is looking to mill out your opponent with Jace or River Churn Monument. You have Hornlock Whale as cheap interaction to bounce, another conditional another win condition. Authority for the aggressive decks, bunch cheap removal, Elspeth Smite, Get Lost, Soul Partition, some counters mixed in, Lockdown for the kind of aggressive decks, Zeal's Flanker for Graveyard Hate, and then Day of Judgment as a sweeper along with Sunfall, and Farsight Ritual as a card advantage engine. Fountain Port in the mana base, as well as some Restless Arc anchorages and Demolition Field to deal with your opponent's utility lands. Then go to Esper Self-Bouncing, kind of a spicy one here with the addition of Corpse of the Lost. So this isn't something you see too often. This will come into play. You got a 2/2 Skeleton. It gives your skeletons a power boost and haste. And then if you descend this turn, a permanent was put into your graveyard, you can pay a life and bounce back to your hand. Playing that with stuff like your Pixies, Fear of Isolations. This town ain't big enough to get multiple creatures that way there. Versions also on Inquisitive Glimmer to reduce the cost of some of your enchantments, making it a little bit cheaper to cast this here. Sheltered as removal, you have Optimistic Scavengers to redistribute counters, and then kind of the Hopeless Nightmare lines where you just tear away at your opponent's hand. Go to Mono Black Midrange. So this deck here, just overlording on removal. You have Cut Down, Annoyance, Go for the Throats, Shelly, Shoot the Sheriff. We also have Intimidation Tactics. Basically a discard effect for artifacts or creatures. And then late game, if you don't need it, it's just cycling. So it has some early game play, and then late game you can get rid of it if needed. Slasher, Bloodletter combo. You have your Archfiend, Unholy Annex, Shelly kind of as your top end threats, and then Liliana the Veil. I'd say like these are likely not needed in terms of the mana base. The Amonkhet Raceway and the Avishkar Raceway, they don't really play to the theme of the deck, and they're going to make your mana a lot worse. Soulstone, great, but I'm going to cut these and just play, I think, in the deck get a lot better. We then have Dimir Doomsday, so 58%. Featured this deck in a video. We played it for the Metagame Challenge in Best of 3. How this deck works is basically it's a Dimir control deck. You're looking to cast Doomsday Excruciator. You put 6 cards, basically exile all but the bottom 6 cards of each player's library. Then if you have Jace out, you just mill them out, or you untap with Restless Reef, attack, and then mill them out right there. Otherwise, there's very interactive deck. Deadly Cover-Ups, Harvesters, Malicious Eclipse, Shelly's Edict, bunch of cheap removal, Duress's Hand Hate. Going to be good into the creature decks, into the control decks, domain decks. Probably has a really rough time in this format against the Omniscience deck, since you're not really interacting. Your kind of only hope is Deadly Cover-Up to get them that way there, or Well Times Doom. The last deck, kind of a cool one. This is from Belucifer. This is Grixis Tainted Pack, or Demonic Pack, not Tainted Pack. So kind of the core of this deck is you are looking to donate either Demonic Pack when the last trigger is there, so the opponent loses the game, or Greed's Gambit. So when it enters the battlefield, you get to draw 3 cards, gain 6 life, create 3 bats, and then at the beginning of your end step, you discard a card, lose 2 life, sacrifice creature. When it leaves the battlefield, you discard 3 cards, lose 6 life, and sacrifice 3 creatures. So kind of pay that tax effect on your opponent ongoing. You donate to your opponent with either a flipped Coveted Falcon, so you disguise it and then you flip it afterwards and donate one of these. You also have Harmless Offering as a way to donate one of these effects. Siege the Mirror kind of ties the deck together to help you tutor for stuff. Gold Pen enters, creates a treasure token. Just kind of ramp in this sense that gives you multiple targets to besiege. Same with Storm Chaser's Talent mixed in. Otherwise, just a bunch of removal. You got this town, Storm Chasers kind of in there. That's it for the week. Let me know what you've been playing, what you've been liking, and we will catch you next time. Thanks for watching.